Hey, what's going on, friends? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you do well, mate. Really do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, friends. That's right, the daily series here on the channel where I reflect on what's being said about the Blues, giving you my opinion for whatever that's worth. More importantly, friend, asking for yours. Today we're talking about movement, development, a sporting director at Chelsea. Is it going to be Luis Campos, who's currently doing consultancy work for PSG, Paris Saint-Germain? Remember Luis Campos? He was the one responsible for that Super Monaco team, signing all those wonder kids who went on to beat PSG to the title. Of course, that included Kylian Mbappe. Today we're going to be citing a journalist, Ben Jacobs, reading off a Twitter thread explaining what's going on with Luis Campos and indeed the sporting director at Chelsea, so we can reflect on that as we read, gaining insight and giving a little commentary. So settle in, get comfortable. Thank you for liking the video. That's very kind and sweet of you. You are welcome to subscribe to this channel, and should you choose to do so, hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Alright then, let's get into it. Before we read this Twitter thread, let's just give you some context. Chelsea hasn't really had a sporting director for a long time, and indeed, when we did, we had that chap, Emenalo. Back in the day, he was a technical director of Chelsea, something similar, helped out with transfers, identifying players, and had other footballing roles within the club, and probably actually did quite a good job in hindsight, though it never was really appreciated by the Chelsea fan base. Such is the way of these things. Emenalo was responsible for the Belgian Revolution at Stamford Bridge, bringing in the likes of Thibaut Courtois, Kevin De Bruyne, and Eden Hazard, who of course all are world-class, fantastic players. Make no bones about it, ladies and gentlemen, a sporting director is essential for running a football club at the highest level, certainly successfully, in terms of bringing in great players that you can either sell or implement, and essentially bringing in the right kind of players, the appropriate profiles that match the ideas top to bottom in the club. Name any big, successful behemoth team that's tearing apart European football, they will have a good structure. They will have a sporting director. Todd Boehly and Boehly, when they came into Chelsea, that was one of their priorities. Of course, Todd Boehly became a little bit of a figure of fun by non-Chelsea fans regarding how he was interim sporting director, essentially got his hands dirty with transfers, but this was never the long-term plan. This was just for the immediate transfer window, and now of course Chelsea are looking to get a sporting director, so they have him in before the next transfer window, which of course is this winter. And in this transfer window, Chelsea are intending on spending, that rhymed, again. So let's see what CBS reporter and Chelsea knowing man, Ben Jacobs is saying. Todd Boehly has held talks with Luis Campos, at first reported by The Times. Campos is effectively freelance despite being football advisor to Paris Saint-Germain. He's also employed by Celta. Protection clauses in Campos's PSG contract prevent him working for another big club in parallel. Well, that would be Chelsea, obviously. Campos would have to pay PSG to end his contract, with the club, quote, quite surprised at CFC links and the level of personal background briefing from Campos's team. PSG feel the summer window was a success, despite missing out on Inter Milan's Skriniar. But sources concede there was tension between Campos and ex-director of sport Antero Henrique, who was charged with spearheading outgoings. Important figures within PSG having issues with people above them or other footballing figures in the club. Seen that before. Thomas Tuchel and Leonardo. PSG point to 22 departures, but with a number of those deals loans, Campos believed incomings were hampered, arguing more permanent deals were needed to further move in the market. Campos and PSG have slightly different opinions here. PSG don't consider Bernardo Silva and Marcus Rashford failed targets. Club always felt Silva was being priced out of the market, and Rashford's agent was using suitors as leverage to bring to Manchester United. Neither deal became advanced or realistic as a result. Pause just on that. I would have quite liked Marcus Rashford to go to PSG. I know they're like kind of an unsavory club for a multitude of reasons, but as an England fan, it's just another high-profile England player going abroad and hopefully becoming an icon and maybe doing well and getting back into the England side and yada yada yada. Let's read on. Skriniar was the big priority right up to deadline day, but Inter held firm. PSG don't believe outgoing stopped this deal. They just never wanted to pay more than 65 million euro, and at the end of the window, Inter were demanding closer to 80 million. The advantage of Campos to Chelsea is he could be either a sporting director or an advisor. The latter would still give the club option to wait for Michael Edwards. Edwards held multiple meetings with Chelsea in August and was made what one source calls, quote, an outstanding offer, end quote. Wow, an outstanding offer. This is something that we've spoken about before. Michael Edwards, of course, responsible for building a sensationally good Premier League team, but wanted to take some time out of football, and it doesn't surprise me to read this now, that he was made a sensational offer. Probably loads and loads and loads of money. Say what you want about Boehly and Igbali and Clearlake, they are absolutely throwing their weight around profoundly financially, spending a lot of money, already breaking the transfer record for us in a summer. £270 million, might even be the British transfer record for one window, I'm not so sure. Incredible scenes, really, so it would not surprise me that they've offered Michael Edwards silly money, essentially, to come and work for Chelsea. Edwards was, quote, blown away by the project, but still firm that he was not able in the short term or medium. He wants a full year break from football. It remains to be seen whether Chelsea find a way of involving him long term, but he has turned down the job based on being in place for this January window. Chelsea are also still looking at Monaco's Paul Mitchell, who is extremely keen on the role. Mitchell recently joined the Monaco board, but it's not thought that he would present any significant hurdles if it's successful. He comes recommended by Marina Granovskaya, having been previously considered as technical director. Well, if he's been recommended by Marina Granovskaya, you'd imagine he's got great negotiating skills. Of course, Marina did split opinion within Chelsea fans, though she won the award for Best Footballing Director at the Golden Boy Awards. She was recognised as an incredibly good negotiator, and it's many Premier League executives have gone on the record to sort of wax lyrical about her and when they've dealt with her over the years. Personally, out of all that list there, Michael Edwards is top of the tree for me, but maybe we'd have to give him his time out. Who knows? Maybe letting Luis Campos just do some consultancy work in the meantime can help Chelsea start moving in a direction with Graham Potter. But yeah, let's read on. Whilst Atletico Madrid deny any approach for Andrea Berta, which by the way is another Granovskaya recommendation, Chelsea feel now the window is shut, they can appoint a sporting director quickly, with candidates in jobs more accessible. If they employ someone at another club, they'll need to move fast to have a sporting director in place by January, since there is likely to be significant gardening leave period, as Newcastle found out when they employed Dan Ashworth from Brighton. But this would not apply to Campos. No final decision on the candidate has yet been made, with Graham Potter's input seen as essential. Potter's own recruitment specialist, Carl McCauley, will also be given a big say. Boehly also wants a step back from imminent or hands-on recruitment, at least at the first team level, and focus instead on building long-term football model for success underpinned by data and with the aim of creating clearer pathways. Wow. Amazing stuff, really. Todd Boehly really trying to put in the legwork or groundwork for a long-term future, getting in Luis Campos as an advisor, getting in a sporting director. Who knows, maybe Michael Edwards if we, get the best candidate, in my opinion. Buying all these youngsters with his 5 to 10 year plan, employing a young coach that, like I said in previous videos, even if he's not as good as Thomas Tuchel now, his character and maybe projection of development makes him a suitable candidate for the long-term Chelsea project. Maybe the uncertainties and turbulent time is all part of a growing pain that would see Chelsea develop and grow into something really sustainable long term, and essentially just like a really good football team. Remember, Todd Boehly and Clearlake, they are wanting to make money ultimately, and though they've put in ridiculous outlays at the moment, they will see this as an opportunity to make Chelsea a winning machine. And again, something that I've been speaking about recently on the channel is Boehly has visions for the Premier League, not just Chelsea, the product in general, to develop more money and basically get better returns because he believes it's there to be had, which is fair enough, I guess. You might be cynical about money, but provided they don't relocate Stamford Bridge to Texas, I'm okay with it. More money, fine, whatever. Football's the global game. This is the way we're going anyway. Why not have more money in the game as long as there's more savoury elements, like, for example, the performance-driven contracts that we're giving players now. You know, you can't just sit on the bench and get 200k a week. You've got to earn it, man. I mean, it's still silly money, of course. But the one thing's important is this is really, really positive for Chelsea Football Club. Sporting director, maybe an advisor in Campos, and then Edwards in, or some other people. It's great that Graham Potter's input is key. Really shows how much the new ownership is buying into this project behind Graham Potter. Though we heard that all before, didn't we, with Thomas Tuchel? But as the stories have developed recently, we've learned that they never really resonated with Thomas Tuchel, and ultimately he was never going to be their man long term. As well as more stories developing recently that actually the signings were more club signings than Thomas Tuchel signings. So Graham Potter will have influence on the sporting director who will come in. Boehly will eventually take a step back and just look to build the team maybe from the youth level, or like Ben Jacobs said, data driven, data led, and hopefully we see some success moving forwards. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Comment down below. I put it out to you guys, the viewers, the football fans. Comment your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the sporting director situation. Again, I thank you guys if you've dropped a like on the video. It means a lot. You're welcome to sub. Hit the bell if you do. And that's it from me, man. So enjoy the football. Well, there isn't any. So I'll see you later.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living. I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought. Body bag the verse, outlined in chalk. In my life seen trouble, hustle on the double. Silence on the trigger like my pick got a muzzle. Yo, chick like to guzzle, bad boy stay in trouble. I only love this paper, sorry I don't. I laugh me, baby.